radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Yeah, man. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man. How you doing? Today's Monday, July 12th, 2021. 194 days into the new year. Only 171 days left. Let's do this, man. We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of nowhere. A total undisclosed location, but it is beautiful. That's right. I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? All right, I'm back. Took last week off to go and shoot this amazing film, and I posted a bunch of stuff in social media. I've got hundreds of pictures. And we'll get to all of that throughout the week. But anyway, I'm back. And what an amazing week we have got here on Fade to Black. Tonight, two very special guests, Danny Sheehan and Lou Elizondo. They are both with us tonight. We're going to have Lou Elizondo at the bottom of the hour. Then we're going to swing back and pick up Danny Sheehan at the top of the hour. Tomorrow night, right here, Grant Cameron. Grant Cameron is joining us live from Canada. And then Wednesday night, very special show. This is one you're not going to want to miss. Debbie Cobble is here. She is joining us for the first time. Debbie was the subject of Bud Hopkins' book, Intruders. And she is with us Wednesday night. I just spent the week with her shooting this film. She is an amazing, amazing soul. That is Wednesday night. And then Thursday night, if that's not enough for your adrenaline fix, Thursday night, live from Australia, it's Ross Coulthard. And very excited about the show. So is Ross. We finally, and let me tell you something. Ross is amazing. And what he, I'll let him save it for Thursday night. But he's a champion. That's all I've got to say. Ross is with us on Thursday night, and how he is with us on Thursday night, we'll talk about that on Thursday. It's absolutely amazing. He is one cool dude. So that is happening on Thursday night. Okay, what a great week here on Fade to Black. And then to cap off the week, this Saturday, July 17th, is the date for the biggest event of the year. It is going down Saturday, July 17th. It is our Forbidden Disclosure Online Conference with Richard Dolan, Linda Moulton Howe, Lou Elizondo, Nick Pope, Billy Carson, and myself. This is an 11-hour, all-day live event. You want to get your tickets right now. Everything is over at jimmychurchradio.com. You can see the banner there. You can click on that. You can also click on the link in the video description box below. And we've got all of the links also up in all of our social media. But you want to get your tickets now. You don't want to miss this event. Truly the event of the year. It's going down this Saturday. We'll talk to Lou about this more at the bottom of the hour. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. That's right, at JChurchRadio. The Sandbox is hashtag F2B on Twitter. We don't bite. Come and hang out with all of the Fadernauts over there. I've already jumped in over on YouTube. We've got all of our chat rooms open, including Spreaker, KGRA, Facebook. Hello to everybody over at KGRA. And, of course, right here on Twitter at hashtag F2B. You can also email throughout the show, Jimmy at jimmychurchradio.com. We have got not only a full show tonight, but a full week here on Fade to Black. All right. Now, all of the crazy news that has been going down. I'm going to get to some stuff now and some stuff in just a bit. But absolutely amazing, because I'm going to start with this. Yesterday, Richard Branson won the billionaire space race when he landed the Unity 22 after a 1-hour flight that included a few minutes of weightlessness on the edge of space. The billionaire business mogul and founder of Virgin Galactic then revealed the mementos that he carried with him on his historic flight. Snapshots of his parents and kids. Very cool. Just after he landed and his Unity 22 crewmates landed from the first fully crewed test flight of the Spaceship Two VSS Unity rocket plane. Right after Branson landed, though, Elon Musk tried to just steal the spotlight, because Elon Musk immediately booked his own seat on a future Virgin Galactic flight. Plopped down $10,000 to reserve that seat. It's unclear how far up the waiting list is for the flight that Musk was at the time of tonight's show. So we don't know which flight. We don't know which one Elon is going to be on. Elon is going to be on. All right. It was also announced today, CBS and the TV Academy on Monday, today, announced that Cedric the Entertainer will make his Emmys hosting debut this September as the big show returns to a live in-person format. Cedric the Entertainer stars and executive produces the CBS comedy The Neighborhood. Also, Friday. We can't forget about that. The event will take place at the Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles on September 19th. Now, all right, you remember that hack last week? That huge ransom, $70 million, right? Okay, ransomware, remember that? Well, Kaseya said today that it has fully restored its servers more than a week after being hit by a ransomware attack that crippled hundreds of companies around the world. The Miami-based IT firm said it had fully restored its signature VSA software operations, which are used to manage networks of computers and printers. The attack, which was widely believed to come from a Russian-based hacking group, R-Evil, affected an estimated 1,500 businesses and prompted a ransom demand of $70 million. Now, no word yet if Kaseya paid out any or all of the $70 million in ransom. There you go. Let's get the show cracking. Happy birthday to today, one of my favorites, Michelle Rodriguez. Today is 43 years old. Of course, star in Lost, star of Avatar. Michelle Rodriguez, 43 years old. Her documentary about her little ayahuasca adventure is pretty incredible, and you should go and check that out. It's out there on YouTube. Topher Grace today is also 43 years old, star of Interstellar and American Ultra. Richard Simmons, remember Richard Simmons? Richard Simmons today is 73. And Christy McVie of Fleetwood Mac today is 78. The Gin Blossoms frontman Robin Wilson today is 56. And Dream Theater's guitar god John Petrucci today is 54. Our dead guy's birthday today is Charlie Murphy. Incredibly funny CB4. CB4, Charlie Murphy, 1959 to 2017. I'm just going to say, there are moments when Charlie was funnier than his brother. That's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to leave that right there. On this day in history, OTD, 1957. Check this out. Dwight D. Eisenhower becomes the first president to ride in the newest advance in aviation technology, the Tic Tac. I kid. It was the helicopter. For a second there, I know what you were thinking. Church, really? Really? No, it's the helicopter. Fader fact. Self-proclaimed earthquake expert Eben Browning predicted a massive earthquake that would strike New Madrid, Missouri, in the United States on December 3rd, 1990. The prediction caused schools in multiple states to close. Everybody panicked, and media organizations from all across the country flooded into the town. Nothing happened. And that is your fader fact. It's a true story. Actually happened. I remember it. All right. Tonight, this week on Fade to Black, every week is great here. It truly is. Every week is great. This week, and things are planned out in advance, and then as things, start to fall into place, you're like, wow, what an amazing week. And this week is just absolutely amazing for Fade to Black. Danny Sheehan and Lou Elizondo are with us tonight. Tomorrow night, Grant Cameron is here live from Canada. Wednesday night, Debbie Cobble. I am so looking forward to this conversation. I just hung out with Debbie all last week, and she is absolutely amazing. And yes, she was the subject of Bud Hopkins' book, Intruders. What a life of contact. And we're going to discuss all of that on Wednesday night with Deb. And then Thursday night, live from Australia, it's Ross Coulthart, live from Australia. And now, this is what's strange about Ross. I want to just address something really quick before I move on. I did notice in Twitter that Ross's name was coming up, and people were requesting that Ross get interviewed here on Fade to Black as a guest. And I'm just going to let the cat out of the bag. Ross and I have been setting this up now for a couple of months. And we have been in contact with each other, and then we were able to nail this down for this week. And it's just a strange coincidence that everything was popping up there on Twitter, and then boom, we have Ross this week. So that is the universe. Everything is connected, people. Don't think it's not, because it is. And right now, I am going to drink this steaming cup of River Moon coffee in my Fade to Black mug. There it is. Thank you. Courtesy of Alyssa. Okay. Hot. Oh, man, so good. RiverMoonWellness.com. Go over to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Do it now. Get yourself some Fade to Black blend or the Game Changer blend. Both are absolutely amazing. Also, over the weekend, I want to thank Mark Sims, Deborah Geesty, and everybody over at Saturday Night Alive. We had a great time on Saturday. That was absolutely amazing. And Danny Sheehan was with us, and Stephen Bassett, Rebecca. I could go down the list, but I'm just going to say this. What a great show on Wednesday night, Saturday Night Alive, and you guys should go and check that out if you ever get a chance. But that was really, really cool. All right, so, wow, what a weekend. What a week. And last week, and here we go this week, capped off with our event this Saturday. All right. Over the years, we've had a lot of different conspiracies that, well, went from crazy tinfoil hat stuff to full-on truth. It's happened. It's happened quite a bit, more than you think. And over the last week, a real conspiracy actually happened. And it's slowly unfolding in front of our very own eyes. And it's only going to get crazier. I'm speaking about the assassination of Haiti's president. Now, several of the men involved in the operation that killed Haiti's president previously worked as U.S. law enforcement informants. Now, U.S. investigators right now are trying to grapple with an increasing number of Florida links to the alleged hit squad. At least one of the men arrested by Haitian authorities previously worked as an informant for the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. And the DEA admitted this in their own statement after rumors started to spread in Haiti. Now, when the story broke, they were talking about, oh, there's U.S. citizens involved with this. And that was the day of the assassination. The DEA statement is this, quote, at times, one of the suspects in the assassination of Haitian President Jovenel Moise was a confidential source to the DEA. Now, the DEA continued with this, quote, following the assassination of President Moise, the suspect reached out to his contacts at the DEA. A DEA official assigned to Haiti urged the suspect to surrender to local authorities and, along with a U.S. State Department official, provided information to the Haitian government that assisted in the surrender and the arrest of the suspect and one other individual. So right now the count is 2. The DEA, now also the reports as the assassination started and they were at the house, somebody yelled that it was the DEA. The DEA also said it is aware of reports that some of the assassins did indeed yell DEA at the time of their attack. The DEA said that none of the attackers were operating on behalf of the agency. Now, others cited U.S. ties, including working as informants for the FBI. That's right. The FBI. Let that soak in for a moment. The FBI said in response to those additional rumors that it doesn't comment on informants. Of course they don't. Except to say that it uses lawful sources to collect intelligence as part of its investigations. Now, Moise was killed last Wednesday in an operation that Haitian authorities say involved at least 28 people. And this is where it starts to get nuts. Most of them Colombian mercenaries hired through, get ready for this, a Florida-based security company. That's right. Authorities today announced that the arrest of a suspect who they say orchestrated the assassination, and his name, one Christian Emmanuel Sanan. Now, Christian entered Haiti on a private jet this past June, and all of this according to Haitian Police Chief Leon Charles. Haitian authorities say that Sanan hired Florida-based CTU Security, which then recruited men initially to provide security for Sanan. Is this crazy enough yet? It gets better. Sanan and his representatives have stayed silent since his arrest. But here we go. The authorities in Haiti have provided limited details on the investigation, but the growing number of Florida and U.S. connections to the plot appears to portray an operation that at least partly hatched in the United States. Can you say Bay of Pigs? I just did. Bay of Pigs. Something is very, very fishy about this entire conspiracy. Now, you have to remember what the definition of conspiracy is, because today, conspiracy means something nuts, right? Something nuts. Oh, the UFO cover-up, right? That's a conspiracy, right? Anything that's crazy. It's Mel Gibson and conspiracy theories, tinfoil hat. It's just nuts, right? That's what conspiracy means today. That's the pop culture definition. But the actual definition of conspiracy is this. It's two or more people who conspire to commit a crime. That's a conspiracy. You go to court, you get charged with conspiracy. It's because you and your partner, or 3 or 4 or 5, all conspired together to commit a crime. And in this case, it's an assassination of the president of a sovereign nation. This is absolutely incredible. Since the assassination, Haiti has requested... Now, okay. The big picture. What is really going down? The big picture, geopolitics, this stuff, banana republics, and what the United States has done throughout the Caribbean and Central and South America. We know the exploits, right? Well, then we have this nugget, as if all of it isn't crazy enough. Because since the assassination, Haiti, wait for it, has requested U.S. help to stabilize the country. Say what? One government minister in Haiti has requested the deployment of U.S. troops. That's right, saying that terrorists might exploit the chaos to target airports and our gas reserves. We need your help. Send your troops to Haiti. When asked about it, the White House has only said that the matter was, are you ready for this? Under review. And troops have not been ruled out. This is crazy. You just go back, because you just want to go, and the plot thickens. You think about everything that we have done in the past. Things just like this. Now, I'm not saying the U.S. is responsible. I am saying that a security firm in Florida hired the team, flew them to Haiti on a private jet, went to the president's house, barged in, and killed him, and shot his wife. Think about that. So now we have an actual crazy-ass conspiracy breaking out in front of us. It's right here. These are the times that we live in. These are the times. When I started to investigate all of this and put together everything and started to read through it, I knew from the moment that I read about the assassination and the mention of U.S. citizens being involved, somebody got caught. Somebody got caught. And this was going to unravel. And this is what it's turned into. I don't know the big picture yet, but I've just laid it out for you, and I've just laid out the facts. Now, are we going to deploy U.S. troops to Haiti? Are we going to stabilize that country again? President assassinated? This just seems strange to me. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just reading the facts in this, and I am blown away. Blown away. I have no idea where it's going to go. I don't. But it's right now in front of us, playing out in real time. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, what an amazing week. an amazing week because tonight is Danny Sheehan and Lou Elizondo. I'll be right back after the break with Lou. And then tomorrow night, right here on this very program, Grant Cameron. So much to talk about. We're going to follow that up Wednesday night. Debbie Cobble joins us. Intruders. That's right. Thursday night, live from Australia, Ross Coulthart. What a week on Fade to Black. We're going to do some phone calls each night after each guest. No Fader night this week, but, we're still going to talk. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. I'll be right back with our first guest, Lou Elizondo. Stay right there.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Introducing the Game Changer blend from River Moon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all River Moon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, folks. It's troubling times, and fear is pushing emotions, which in turn pushes health the wrong direction. Do you ever get an ache because life is uneasy? Try Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. Life Change Tea works on your digestive tract, helping to move food through quicker and comfortably so your health is spot on. Life Change Tea may not help with world issues, but it will help with your digestive issues. A glass a day helps keep the intruders away. So, change your life today. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. If your health game is off, get on by ordering Life Change Tea. getthetea.com. And while you're on our site, look around at the great non-GMO organic supplements. And if you're a sales shopper, go to our specials page and see what's for you. I've been drinking the tea for 12 years and I'm sure glad for its health benefits. Again, that's getthetea.com. Getthetea.com. The tea that makes you go.
Fadernauts. When you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show. on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What a great week we've got on the show tonight. Lou Elizondo and Danny Sheehan. Danny's going to be with us at the top of the hour. Want to remind everybody what's going on this week. It's absolutely amazing because tonight it's Sheehan and Elizondo. Tomorrow night, Grant Cameron. Wednesday night, Debbie Caldwell. And then Thursday night, Ross Coulthard. What a great week on the show. Tonight, Lou Elizondo, who is the former director, alleged former director of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, otherwise known as ATIP. As a senior counterintelligence officer for the Department of Defense, he operated throughout Afghanistan, the Middle East, and Latin America. He's also a trained special agent who has led countless tactical and strategic missions both during wartime and times of peace. His academic background includes microbiology, immunology, and parasitology, which I'm not even sure if that is a real classification. We'll ask Lou about that another time. He's laughing. With research experience in tropical diseases, Lewis is also an inventor who holds several patents. I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black the one and only Lou Elizondo. Lou, good evening, young man. How you doing?
Jimmy, thank you very much. I'm doing again, I hate to say, I always say every day above ground is a good day, but I mean it. We're not getting, as I said before, we're not getting any younger. And, things start to happen with your body when you get to our age, right? Weird things that, I noticed, for example, I'm standing longer forgive me for saying this, but I'm standing longer at the urinal. And I don't know why. I'm just standing there, and I don't know what I'm waiting for. And then all of a sudden, now all of a sudden I realize what the hell I was doing there. So, with age comes all these weird changes. And the reason why I'm saying this, in all honesty, I actually spent today at the hospital. I'm trying to make a little bit funny light of a very serious situation. But I shared with you, and I don't know if I shared with your audience, I lost my mother to cancer. And it's always been kind of in the back of my mind. She died from large B-cell type lymphoma, and it just completely ate her to pieces. And she went to the doctor too late. And you know what? I'm just like my mom. My whole family constantly tells me, Lou, you got to go to the hospital. You got to get yourself checked out. You got to get these annual checkups. And I don't ever really take it seriously. And today it was one hell of a scare for me. Fortunately, the doctors here ran some blood work very, very quickly. And although I am not as healthy as I once was, I do not have the dreaded cancer or any of the markers. So for anybody out there listening, please don't do what I do and just wait forever to not get yourself checked out. If you have even a family or anybody, friends that care about you, please listen to their advice and go get yourself checked out. Go get your colonoscopies, go get your mammograms, go get anything you think you need to get, because we don't live forever, and we really need everybody on board for as long as possible on this train in particular. So please get yourself checked out, and in this case, don't be like Lou. Get yourself checked out routinely.
So Lou, today's hospital visit started at the urinal. And so what you're saying is the urinal thing started like over a couple of years ago, right? And if you just kind of ignore it, you say, oh, it's going to be age, and I guess this is what happens. No, that means there's something wrong. No, I'm just picturing you running out of the bathroom going, Jennifer, we got to go to the hospital. And the visual is there, Lou. The visual is there.
I'll spare you the visuals.
Can I say this? I like the new look. You look like Brian Johnson of AC/DC. And it works for me. And the new Brian Johnson look in the urinal story, they kind of go together, Lou. So pretty cool.
Well, everybody always tells me, Lou, I was wearing a black T-shirt and a baseball cap. So I actually used to wear these type of hats. And of course, then the show comes out on, I guess, Netflix, the Peaky Blinders show, and everybody's like, oh, that's a Peaky Blinders hat. Well, no, actually, it's not. That show made that hat famous. But we've been wearing these hats for a long time to cover these ugly mops on top of our head.
Now, Lou, I'm going to ask you a question. There's a lot of people that are dialing in tonight. After a week of crazy drama, do you pay attention to social media?
No. I pay attention to the individuals who have been pushing this topic forward. I pay attention to them, not necessarily on social media, but whatever platform is available. But as far as social media is concerned, no, unfortunately, I really don't have the luxury to spend a whole lot of time in front of social media.
Okay, because I talk a lot of smack about you. I'm just going to let you know. I'm glad. So you're not reading it. Is what you're saying.
No, I will tell you, I do read the tweets that come to me, because I think everybody, even the critical voices deserve their time on the witness stand. So I don't have a lot of social media type accounts, Instagram and whatnot, but I do have Twitter, and I do check Twitter, because Twitter, there's people there that are honestly and sincerely reaching out to me and asking me questions, or there might be a podcast that someone's starting up and no one has given that person the time of day, and they'll say on a whim, "Hey Lou, will you be on my podcast?" Sure, why not? I don't care if you don't have any followers. They're like, "Well, I only have 2 followers." Well, maybe we can get you to 3 by the time we're done.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, I'm going to throw you under the bus a little bit, speaking about social media drama, because last week, I'm just going to let everybody know that Lou and I do stay in constant contact. And I was a bit let down by Lou last week. I call him up. He picks up the phone. He says, "What's up, church?" And I said, 23-minute UAP video, dude. What's up? Yeah, and Lou says, "Yeah, what about it?" I said, "You didn't let me know. Why am I the last? I'm reading about this on social media. I didn't hear about it from you." So that's it. I just took my crack at you right here in front of everybody to let. That's how I speak to Lou. But your retort, your comeback was pretty quick. You said, "You never asked."
Yeah.
Okay, so
let's see if I can make it up to you tonight, Jimmy. There's a lot going on, and I think one of the burning desires people have is, well, Lou, what are you and Chris and folks working on now? Now that the report's out, where do we go from here? I've always said that report was simply a milestone. It was just a benchmark to get to where we need to be. And I think now more than ever is probably the most exciting time that we could possibly be in. And why is that? Well, the government has now finally admitted that UAPs are real and that we're looking into them, that we're establishing a much more comprehensive effort to look at these things. And that's a big deal. Because, when you look at this and it says the very first sentence of the very first paragraph, this is a preliminary report. This means this is the one of many. So, congratulations, UFO Twitter and everybody out there in your audience, you did it. You achieved what people said could never be done. And so where do we go from here? Well, we still have some IG evaluations, don't we, that are ongoing and investigations. Won't that be interesting to see how that plays out, right? Because that's really gonna be able to provide some leverage to crack this topic even more open. You have Congress now calling for public hearings. That's enormous. I mean, real public hearings for everybody to be part of and watch this, right? Now you also have, a new construct where the task force now, within hours of that report being released, you now have a strategic plan coming from no other than the Deputy Secretary of Defense saying we're going to come up with a long-term capability or an enduring capability and strategic plan to fix this. So what does that mean? Well, that means NASA, right? NASA just came on board and said, hey, we think this is important, right? You have now perhaps FAA and DHS and Department of Energy. So this is a huge time of change for us, and it's all good. You now have foreign countries coming out like never before, saying, "Hey, should we be taking this topic seriously too?" Yeah, you should. And you know what? Because if you don't, you're like you just said, you're going to get run over by the bus. So I think if people were to take just a breath or catch their breath maybe and just kind of really look at what's been accomplished in the last 3 years, I think the next 3 years, if the last 3 years are telling at all of what we should expect, I think the next 3 years are going to be absolute dynamite.
Well, what about okay. That was a good dance though, Lou. The 23-minute video. Have you seen it?
Yes.
It's 23 minutes.
It is a very yes, and it's what I can say is that when I was in the program, as you say, allegedly, right, as the ATIP director. If not, you better go buy some lottery tickets, because I am the most clairvoyant individual in the world. Obviously, if I had nothing to do with ATIP, and I figured all this out. But in all seriousness, the video was extremely compelling. One of many, and to the point when I remember getting some expertise to look at it. I did not say what it was. I sent it out to some highly trained experts in the I can say the ISR community, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance community. And when they came back to me, the title of the email was, quote unquote, that UFO video. Now, I never told them. They didn't have any idea what this 23-minute video was. They had no idea what our office was actually doing at the time. And for this little office of experts to come back, and they titled the email back to me, that UFO video, is pretty telling. Because these folks,
what does the video look like? Is it grainy like the stuff that has already been leaked, or is this something that is definitive?
No, it's definitive, and it's perplexing, because every time you think you're like, okay, that's what I'm looking at, all of a sudden, bang, it changes. I can't go into any more than that.
That's fine. That's fine.
Walking a fine line, but it will. I suspect at some point it's going to come out. My hope is that it would come out during like some sort of public hearing. Wouldn't that be grand, right? Everybody can see it for themselves. And there's other ones. There's other ones too that are equally compelling. And again, let me reemphasize, Jimmy. It didn't stop with the Omaha and the USS Kidd. Okay, I've said this before. This is occurring regularly and routinely. Just because you haven't seen it in the newspaper yet doesn't mean it's not occurring. This is happening all the time around the world.
Are you saying that this 23-minute video is recent? What year was it shot?
I can't. It was a little while ago. It was when I was still in ATIP.
So when you're still in, okay.
But I can tell you that the frequency of occurrences are happening routinely. It's happening all the time, and it's to the point now where there are dedicated spaces of analysts, and I won't go into any more than that are trying to look at this problem. And they're looking at this precisely as the way they should, right? Applying all their expertise and providing what they call you have your assessments, and you have basically a counter assessment, right, or a counter analysis that is trying to challenge the other analysts in essence. So that's alternative analysis is what we call it. That's very important. And you now have this dialogue occurring in the intelligence community. That's never really happened before in this topic. When I was in ATIP, this was such a hush-hush effort that we had to operate under extreme measures of secrecy. And now people are having this conversation in the open. So I think this is great. I think we're exactly where we should be.
What was can you describe the shape of the craft in this video? What did it look like?
Jimmy, you're very persistent, and I can appreciate that.
Was it tic-tac-ish?
I really can't elaborate on
okay,
this
just
video.
nod your head yes or no, and then you don't have to say it out loud. Was it tic-tac-ish?
It was not tic-tac shape. No, it was involving potentially multiple vehicles, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Now, the previous videos that have been leaked tended to be out over the ocean involving the Navy. Is this particular video of that genre where it was with a battle group, or was it over land?
You know what? I can't answer that, but I think if it comes out, people will understand why I can't. They're going to go, "Oh, that's why he couldn't answer that." I can't elaborate on that at this time.
Okay. Gun camera footage or with a phone?
No, an official U.S. collection sensor.
Oh man, you are good. You are good. That can
man, I'm
anything.
trying to thread that needle, man. Look, you honestly one wrong word, man, and you're gonna see me in an orange jumpsuit. So I really don't like orange. And if you've never, obviously you've never seen me wear orange, right? I don't particularly like wearing orange.
Don't do it,
especially in a jumpsuit.
I won't help you with that. Do you? Is this something that would you be surprised if it gets leaked?
I would be, because it wasn't pervasive. This video wasn't something that has been shared with a whole bunch of other people, and it was locked down pretty tight, on our system. So I would be very surprised. I also, frankly, between you and your audience and me, I would discourage anybody from leaking it. I know people say, well, that's only how we can get conversations going and how we know what we know today. Well, maybe, but there's also an argument against that. And I think, I think we've achieved more than we've ever dreamed of in 3 years without having to necessarily, quote unquote, leak classified information. Look, I'll say this again, and I've said it before, if I have to choose between disclosure and compromising our national security or hurting our national security, I am telling you, I will choose our national security over disclosure anytime and twice on Sunday. I will not do that. I will not compromise the safety of Americans to provide information and for disclosure. But I don't think we have to. I don't think it is an either or. I think we can have both I think we can have our cake and eat it too. I think we can have a conversation about this and provide information to the public without necessarily compromising sources and methods. And this is why it's taken us maybe a little longer, but why Chris and I and others are so dedicated to this topic the way we are, because it's important. Folks like Eric Davis and Howe Pudoff, et cetera, we want to do this the right way. And we're at the end of the day, we are patriots. We love our country. We love our fellow citizens, and we want to do right by them.
And fair enough. And this is a question you can answer, which is this: with the Go Fast and the gimbal and the Tic Tac, limited data there. The videos were very, very short, including 2019, and all of that was a very short duration of video. Everybody wishes they were longer, but now we're talking about 23 minutes. That's a lot of data there. That's a lot of information.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. I mean, it's that's a whole lot of time to say, gee whiz, what the heck is that, right? And have other sensors to utilize to validate and verify what you're seeing.
And
so that's a very good point.
Before we move on, what was the speed? Was it something that was extraordinary beyond our own capabilities?
Enough to make us raise our eyebrows and say, whoa.
Any erratic movements? Any excessive G forces?
Gosh, Jimmy, you're asking me some really good and trying. I want to answer this, but I don't know if I can. I just
watched Lou go like this. Everybody.
Yeah, a peculiar movement. Yes, for sure.
Really,
and movement that we wouldn't really understand. Patterns that we don't. That's all I can say. I can't even go any more than that. That's it.
Okay. All right. One last question, then we'll move on. Was the craft big enough for maybe a pilot, or do you think it was just under intelligent control?
Well, I'm not sure it was even one craft. That's part of the mystery here. It appears that maybe there were several craft involved, and that's what's so interesting.
Well, yeah, but big enough for somebody or remotely controlled.
No,
if you're going to make a guess,
certainly big enough for from our context, certainly big enough that a human being or several human beings could probably fit inside.
Well, I can't wait for this to leak. I've got to see this thing. All right, now moving on. We've only got a little bit of time left with you, Lou, and again, thank you. Really quick. There's also been a lot of chatter out there about some statements or alluding to our government and branches of the government being in possession of stuff that is not made of human hands. And this chatter's been going on out there. And if you were going to venture to guess, if you were a betting man, is our government in possession of stuff that was not made here on Earth?
So we need to define when you say is our government. When you say our government, are you meaning only those specific officials designated as government officials, or are you also including contractors and any organizations that are affiliated with the United States government?
Yes. The answer is yes, all of the above. We have to include that, and it's very simple for a private company to be doing this research, and then it doesn't fall under FOIA, and secrecy and darkness can prevail. I get that. So, all of the above.
I will say, and I will reiterate what I said before. It is my belief that we are in possession of some very exotic material. I cannot, for very specific reasons, elaborate any further than that.
You brought up Eric Davis earlier, and I want to circle back to this. Eric did make a very profound statement that was quoted in the New York Times by Leslie Kean and Ralph Blumenthal, and that very short quote is a big one, in which he said that he had briefed the United States Senate and told them that we are in possession of craft not of this earth. He said craft. He didn't say parts. He didn't say pieces. He didn't say metamaterials. He literally said flying saucers. Where would he get this information from?
Well, look, Eric's a very good man. Eric is a people get tired of me saying this, but I can say it because I know Eric. He's a hero for this country. He's done things for this country that most people will never even learn about until probably after he's dead. He's an amazing human being, incredibly smart, and had some very significant access. If Dr. Eric Davis tells you something, then he's not lying to you. In fact, if you ever met Dr. Davis, you'll realize he has an interesting little personality characteristic that prevents him from lying. He's one of these super uber smart people, almost savant. He is that intelligent, and for a guy like that, he wouldn't even understand a reason why to lie. There's no reason to lie. So he doesn't even waste his energy even trying to spend time doing that. He operates on a completely different level. This guy, thinks in terms of binary, ones and zeros. Where we get computers to do the work for us, he just kind of does it in his head. That's the kind of guy Dr. Davis is. So I have trusted him implicitly, and I've known over time, based upon my own personal experience, that when he says something, there is evidence to support his observations and his conclusions, and I will leave that there.
Did you ever discuss this with him?
I can't go into that, unfortunately.
Okay. The answer is yes, everybody. I don't need to know what the conversation was about, but in making this kind of statement, the New York Times, I spoke to Ralph Blumenthal about this specifically, is going to vet, and they're not going to put that in, whether it's buried at the bottom of the article or at the top of the article. They are going to vet that source because it's a direct quote, and you can't go there unless they did the due diligence. And it was an eyebrow raising quote. and one that I think that I know that Ross Coulthard certainly has been interested in that quote, but other journalists just kind of let that go, and it was a very profound statement, Lou. It was just extraordinary. So, listen, I want to thank you for coming on the show tonight. This Saturday, we're going to circle back, and you're going to join me for our live event, the Forbidden Disclosure Conference, this July 17th. And you excited?
I am very excited. I love to have an opportunity to have different perspectives. I never run from opportunities like that to share different experiences and different perspectives. I've had an opportunity to talk to Nick Pope and Linda Moulton Howe and others. And even though we may not necessarily agree on a lot of things, there are things that we do agree on, and that's transparency and disclosure. And so I think it's going to be, I think you can never have too many different perspectives. By the way, before I forget here, if you want a real gas, you want to have some fun here tonight with Danny Sheehan. Ask Danny Sheehan about an individual who we know because the conversation he was privy to, where they said this was back a couple months ago. They said, Lou, we have no problem. We know you ran the program. What we have problems with some of these other things involving. This is when they were coming after my security clearance. They were trying to use the television show unidentified against me, and of course, obviously, I didn't break my security oath in that show. But during one of the investigators had told me, they said, "Look, we know you ran ATIP. That's not even in question anymore." Danny was made aware of that. He heard that comment himself, and so. You can, if you ever want to get some additional information on that, I'm sure, Danny, as my lawyer, will be more than happy to provide some of that. But I don't think there's any, at this point, DOD doesn't call you in to talk to somebody unless you've served in a position before. And I just thought I'd let you know.
Yeah, and he's up with this next, and I will definitely jump in there. I want everybody to know that this conference that we're doing this Saturday, this is truly going to be the event of the year to have these individuals all together in one place at one time. But what Lou asked of me, he said, Jimmy, can you and I just sit and talk for 2 hours? And absolutely, let's go there. And I said, I will. I said, that's a great idea. So that's what we've agreed to do. And if I can make Lou Elizondo squirm a little bit, and reveal something and get him to risk everything, I'm going to do it this Saturday. Hey, Lou, thank you so much, my friend. And we'll see you on Saturday. We'll talk before then, but we'll see you Saturday for the Forbidden Conference. Thank you so much.
Jimmy, thanks for everything. Take care, and a big thank you to your audience as well. Can't wait.
I can't wait to see you this summer on tour with AC/DC.
I'm a roadie.
Lou Elizondo, thank you so much, my friend.
Take care, sir. Thank you.
Lou Elizondo. Coming up next, this is Fade to Black. Coming up next, Danny Sheehan is joining us right after the break. And this is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Coffee. I want to try your coffee.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right. 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to forbiddenknowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today and use coupon code 30daysfree. That's coupon code 30daysfree on forbiddenknowledge.tv today.
Because you never got that pony you always wanted. Damn it. Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network. KGRADB.com.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer. Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
Hello, I'm Haiti, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. We're also Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What a great week on the show. I want to thank Lou Elizondo for coming in. Up next, we have Danny Sheehan with us. And, of course, Danny, JD, is a graduate of Harvard Law School, former director of the Christic Institute, and is a professor of world politics at the University of California. He is also the General Counsel and Co-Director for the Institute of Cooperation in Space. He has a long and distinguished history as public interest counsel and was legal counsel in the Pentagon Papers case, the Iran-Contra, 3 Mile Island, Karen Silkwood, and many other high-profile cases. He currently represents Lou Elizondo. We've got a lot to talk about tonight with Danny Sheehan, and I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, Daniel P. Sheehan. Danny, how are you tonight, young man?
I'm great, Jimmy. I'm great.
You look great. That's all that matters. That's all that matters, Danny. That's all that matters. And a couple of things. I know that you were just listening to Lou, and we'll get to Lou in a second. But I want to start off with this. Do you pay attention to the soap opera that is social media?
Actually, no. I've never. Our office is on Twitter and Facebook and other things. But myself, I've never been on them.
So
I don't pay attention to them at all. I'm working. We used to say back in Washington D.C. when we were doing like the Iran-Contra case or the Silk case, we never have quite time to listen to all that kind of stuff because we're doing the stuff they're talking about.
That's right. You know what? And you're going to live a long life. You don't have to. You don't have to get involved with all of that. Well, moving on. We've got a lot to discuss tonight, and I kind of want to start here with everything that is going on right now with the IG and the Department of Defense and representing Lou Elizondo. Do you have an update on behalf of the IG and where this investigation is headed?
Sure. When you were talking with Lou, he had mentioned that we have been meeting with three specific subdivisions of the Inspector General's office in the Defense Department. We've been meeting with, of course, the whistleblower retaliation group because the instantaneous response of the Inspector General's office to the filing of our complaint on May 3rd was, oh, well, this sounds like a whistleblower is being retaliated against here. And then there was this other group that was called Space Intelligence and Engineering Oversight. There was another one that was Space Missiles and Nuclear Evaluation and Oversight. And now the same day that we filed this complaint right in the first thing in the morning at 9 o'clock in the morning on May 3rd. And later on that day, there was an official memorandum issued, a public press release from the Inspector General's office saying that, we have decided today, coincidentally, to start a major, broad investigation and evaluation to determine exactly what steps the Defense Department or any of its agencies have taken with regard to the UAP issue or the UFOs. Now, that's a very broad-ranging evaluation. And they also said in that press release, they said that they are going to consider expanding their investigation and the scope of it as it proceeds, and they will actually consider expanding the number of government agencies within the Defense Department that they're going to be evaluating. So we were happy to hear that. There was a fellow by the name of Randolph Strong, was the fellow who's the head of that division inside the Inspector General's office. So when we met with them in Washington, D.C., right down the street from the Pentagon, in the great big new Defense Department building, a series of buildings they have there, we raised the issue with them about, wouldn't it be more advantageous to have all of the subdivisions of the Inspector General's office rather than them each looking out of their little stovepipe, at Lou's general complaint, that they would all get together and form sort of a large task force and really come to grips with all the implications of this. And they have done that now. They have done that. And it's quite rare for that to go on inside the Defense Department. They're quite bureaucratic in the way they function. But we've said that this is such a profoundly important issue. And the American public is so interested in this thing. It's been going on for decades now. That what we wanted to do is have a collective group of people that we could sit down at the table with and have them around the table. There isn't a question. I mean, they all know, and as Lou pointed out, they acknowledged right flat out that there was absolutely no debate about the fact that Lou was the director of the Advanced Aerospace Sort Identification Program. That was just silly. Any assertions on the part of personnel from the Defense Department that Lou wasn't the director of the project, or that there was no project that was investigating UFOs, or they didn't know what anybody's talking about. They just said, look, let's get all that behind us right away, okay? Let's just brush that off the table. Everybody who's here knows that you ran the program, so let's talk about this, right? And so we had a whole range of issues that were raised. And what I was doing, I said to him, as Lou's counsel, because they know. I mean, when Lou retained me, Lou knew that I was the legal counsel for the Disclosure Project. He knew that I was legal counsel for Dr. John Mack at Harvard University when we went through an 18-month ordeal with the faculty and administration at Harvard University over them getting their nose out of joint over the fact that John Mack published
Lou,
a book about it.
Can you ask everybody that's eating dinner in the background to hold it down?
Yeah.
It's really loud. Okay, go ahead. Continue. John Mack.
Okay, so that Lou knew this when Lou retained me, and he knew that I was legal counsel for the citizens' hearings, the public hearings that we had with congressmen and senators and things, or former congressmen and former senators. So that the bottom line is that when I came to the Pentagon with Lou as his counsel, sitting at his side during these discussions, that we were there to basically assist the Inspector General's office in doing what was their constitutional duty, and you could tell that they weren't used to this. They were used to dealing with everything in these little compartmentalized stovepipes. And when we were saying, look, this is such a seriously profound issue that we've got to become serious about all this together. We need to work at getting at what's been done by the Defense Department. What do they know about this? Who is it that knows about it? Why is it that there are so many high-ranking military officials who don't know anything about this, who are not briefed in, and they're becoming totally frustrated? We need to figure out a protocol for getting this information gathered together in a coordinated way, and meaningful and honest evaluations being done. So that in a very short period of time, in these meetings that we were having, that it became extremely cordial, and it was perfectly clear that we were all sort of on the same wavelength here, and they clearly were looking to Lou to share with them the information that he had gotten as the director of the entire project, and that's what he was doing. He was sharing with them the information because they had not been briefed in on any of it.
Now, help me. I want to be the fly on the wall here, Danny. Is UAP, UFO, little green men? Is this kind of stuff being discussed out in the open, or is it in references that are almost third person? We've got to get this information out. We've got to look at, instead of, is there direct reference to UAPs and UFOs?
Well, yeah, but so you need to be careful here because you threw in little green men. Well, along with the rest of it, right? So you got to be careful here,
right?
We're going at this thing very carefully. The fact of the matter is that these unidentified aerial phenomenon that they refer to them as, everybody in the room knows that we're talking about UFOs. Okay, because UFOs moved from becoming a generalized description that was used by the United States military as unidentified flying objects. Everybody started that became a noun. They said, "Oh, that's a UFO."
Sure.
And there was a craft, a clear spacefaring craft, and that's clearly what we're talking about. And we're sitting around the table talking with these men about, look at. We know that there are vehicles, and this is what Lou is saying to them. We know that there are vehicles flying in our airspace around the world on our planet. They're going like 43,000 miles an hour, right within our atmosphere. Now, this would burn any vehicle we've ever seen to a crisp. Here, and that's why with the Challengers coming in from going out to the moon or going in orbit, coming back into our atmosphere, they have to have these gigantic heat panels on them, and they have to slow down to really slower speeds in order to not get burnt to a crisp. But here are these vehicles flying at 43,000 miles an hour, at least inside our atmosphere. They're coming from 80,000 feet above our Earth down to within 50 feet of the surface of the oceans, and stopping on a dime that would generate up to 600 Gs that would tear any vehicle that we've ever heard of completely asunder. And then they're going underwater and traveling over 200 miles an hour under the water. Now, we've discussed all of this stuff. These are the things that Lou was able to discover in the period that he was running this major investigation inside the Pentagon. So he was briefing the people inside the Defense Department to make it clear to them, look how serious this issue is here. And for the people inside the Defense Department to be saying, look, nobody is working on this. Nobody's understanding this. These things are flying around and nobody's really paying much attention to them. Everybody knows it is crazy. It's just swamp gas. It's lighthouse lights reflecting off clouds, or people are mistaking flocks of birds. I mean, look at the guy that does Cosmos, this Richard DeGrazio, whatever his name is.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, that's right. He was on Sunday morning. He was on with what's his name, Fareed Zakaria, right? And they were covering the Virgin everything's going up into the sky, right, with Richard
Branson,
right?
Yeah,
Branson, and they were all covering. And what's the Fareed Zakaria said to him? He had him on the show, and he says, "What about all these sightings of the UFOs? And the Pentagon is recognizing they're real. What do you think about that?" He had the temerity to say, "Well, I really think it's probably some flaw in the equipment, the detection equipment." That's what he said. He is so locked in to refusing to acknowledge the reality of these things. I mean, we've got photographs of these things less than 100 feet away. I mean, we've got the guys that are flying these F-18 Hornets. They started taking their cameras with them and taking photographs of these things out the window of their cockpits. I mean, it's every single day they're seeing these things. So this is preposterous still for people to be taking this ridiculous position. And so the fact is that the guys that were in the Inspector General's office that are supposed to be conducting an evaluation of this whole subject didn't even know most of the public information that was already being released about this, because they wanted to approach the subject pristine. They didn't want to be prejudiced, so they had to have Lou start briefing them like right from the very beginning. So it's quite an extraordinary experience to see, these colonels from the Air Force and these DOD guys all sitting around this big table, and here's Lou, delivering a seminar to these guys about what the information is that he already knows about these things. And so that you could tell that these men, these were basically honest guys, and they started out with this extremely narrow perspective on what it is each of them was supposed to be doing. They wanted to remain inside these stovepipes where they were. But Randolph Strong brought them together and made them all sit down together, so they couldn't use the stovepipe defense anymore. They had to come to grips with this as a collective group. And so they were all there at the same time, and Lou is briefing them on what's going on. So now each of them knows that the other people at the table know as well, everything that they know. And so that we're sitting there giving them more sources, more people they can go to, where they can get the documents on things. For example, Lou said to them, and this isn't talking out of school, that the Defense Department, when people had filed Freedom of Information Act demands to get information to try to counter some of their public statements that Lou didn't have anything to do with this program, there wasn't any secret program, people filed Freedom of Information Act demands to see if they could get some of the records, and they said, the stuff that Lou Elizondo was working on was so insignificant that we've destroyed all of their records. And Lou said, anybody who believes that they've destroyed the records of the entire thing from the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification has got to have his head examined. So don't take that. Don't listen to them from inside. If anybody tries to tell you they've destroyed all of our records, we'll provide you copies if you'd like them.
Yeah, and what's the movement on that end with his missing emails and no backup to the email? Any response from the IG about that issue?
No, we're supposed to come and have another set of meetings with them within like 30 days. Okay, so we've laid out a whole bunch of stuff so that they can follow up on it and get the documentation. We've given them the names of witnesses. We've given them phone numbers. We've given all that stuff to them, and they're saying that they're going to have us come back to Washington, within 30 days or so to sit down for a second round, and we're going to keep on going. What we're trying to do is have this collective investigation that's going to be going on. To try to enlist the support of the Inspector General's office in calling to task some of these people inside the Defense Department that have been saying things that aren't true. Basically, it appears that some of the people inside the Defense Department didn't get the memo somehow that they're not supposed to keep on this complete bullshit line, that they've been going on for decades. And they've all sort of drunk the Kool-Aid that they're afraid to say anything about it. Nobody can talk about it. And the thing that's so bizarre about it is to have the United States Defense Department so intimidated that they can't even, a two-star general can't even ask anybody about the subject. They get them flying over a nuclear weapons site, like a Minuteman site, and they shut off all dozen of the nuclear missiles, and somehow the commander of the base is supposed to be frightened about even reporting it. I mean, how preposterous is that? And so this is the kind of conversations that we were having with them. We weren't being insulting to them, and we weren't trying to be insulting to the officers, the commanders of these bases. What we're saying is that this situation is absurd. And now that Lou and Chris Mellon had taken the position of bringing these three videos out and releasing them to the New York Times, and the board of editors of the New York Times were courageous enough to actually publish them, just like the Pentagon Papers, I was there for all those meetings as legal counsel for the New York Times when we decided to publish those papers. So here I could see what they were doing at the New York Times. You bring in videos of UFOs taken out of F-18 Hornet gunship, gun cameras. The New York Times isn't automatically just going to publish them. They're gonna make a lot of important decisions, and they're going to bring in Jim Goodell, their legal counsel, who might know all these guys, and they're going to sit down. But they decided to publish these. That makes it very important. In the same way when the New York Times made the decision to publish the 47 volumes of the top secret Pentagon Papers and put it right on the front page of the New York Times, it was a major sea change in the war in Vietnam. It meant that the people in the established order had said it's time to bring this war to an end. What's happened now is the elements inside the Defense Department, Lou Elizondo and Chris Mellon and other people like Steve Justice over at the Skunk Works, others have come forward and are starting to say things like this. This is a, dare I say, a game changer. This is a game changer. And so the people inside the Inspector General's office are trying to figure out what it is that they're supposed to do now, in light of the fact that for years, decades literally, they've been functioning as part of the Defense Department that had this program to systematically deny the reality that they all knew was true, even to the point where their own officers wouldn't even ask questions about it or wouldn't file reports. So they have to now figure out how to redesign the protocols inside the Defense Department, inside each of the military services, and also inside the intelligence services, which the DoD Inspector General doesn't have any jurisdiction over. But the CIA has to figure out what to do about this. The DIA has to figure out what to do about this. The FBI has to figure out what to do about this. And Lou Elizondo and Chris Mellon, by the way, are sort of leading the way by saying, let us tell you candidly in sit-downs, face-to-face, what it is that we know about this, and what it is that we know somebody else knows, but they're not sharing it with you, and they're not sharing it with us. This is terribly frustrating to have, major 2- or 3-star general officers ask questions about this and be told that they don't have a need to know, that they're not to be briefed in on this whole subject. Presidents of the United States, Jimmy Carter being told face to face by George H.W. Bush as the CIA director that he didn't have any need to know this. Obviously, Bill Clinton has said many of the same things. So that this is unacceptable in the constitutional order of a democracy. That our people have a right to know. I mean, that Lou is being very careful, and I'm working with him very carefully to make sure that he doesn't transgress any of his security clearances. But the reality is, as we had the long discussions in the Pentagon Papers, there's all kinds of overclassification that goes on. The utilization of the power to classify things has been misused consistently inside the Defense Department, inside the intelligence services. That they're constantly hiding things from the American people, arguing, well, we can't tell the American people because then our adversaries will know. I mean, they've got this whole mentality that they've got this adversarial relationship with the other nation states. And the reality is they have this attitude about it because they are the aggressor in many cases. They're the ones that invaded the Middle Eastern oil fields. They're the ones that invaded South Vietnam. They're the ones that are doing this. What we have to try to do is figure out how they can step back from that kind of aggressive posture that they've got and stop pretending that the national security of the United States requires them to exercise military force to seize and control the natural resources of the world on behalf of our corporations. They've got to change their headset about this. It's essential for the salvation of our whole planet. Because the occupants of the UFO, to jump a bit, are constantly telling people, constantly communicating to people, you've got to stop these nuclear weapons. You've got to stop the explosion of these nuclear weapons. You have to stop polluting your entire planet with these fossil fuels. You're destroying the entire ecological system of your planet. That all the kind of communications that people are getting from their encounters with these UFOs have to do with this subject over and over again. Now, you can imagine sitting inside the Defense Department, right next to the Pentagon, across the table, talking with these men about these things. You can see that their eyes are getting big as saucers. They're starting to say, wait a second, I feel like I'm in a movie somewhere. That I'm being called upon to make moral decisions, that I'm being put in a situation of having to engage in heroic decisions that I need to make now to help save our planet, and to help deal with this, to keep the momentum of the military-industrial complex from, launching weapons into space to try to fight these extraterrestrial civilizations. This is an extraordinary moment in human history that we're at right now.
There's no question about that, Danny, and it is changing their mindset, right? It's a big job. Let's take our break right here. Our guest tonight, Danny Sheehan. We had Lou Elizondo earlier. This is Fade to Black. I'm yours, Jimmy Church. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this short break.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. Fadernauts. When you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Lou Elizondo and Danny Sheehan. I want to thank Lou for coming in earlier. And more with Danny in just a second. I want to talk to you about Virtual Shield VPN. Everybody needs their own VPN today. There is no question about it. I run a very complex studio here I run 6 computers for this show. All of them have Virtual Shield. Nobody knows my location. Nobody knows my search history. I am completely private. You need to do this today, too. Virtual Shield will give you a strict no-log policy. They have encrypted servers all around the world. You get to pick your location, and nobody knows what you're doing. You've got to get Virtual Shield and get it today. The link is right below in the video description box. Click on it. You will get Virtual Shield VPN for 50% off today. You can also type into your browser, virtualshield.com/fade to black. Do that. Get Virtual Shield VPN for 50% off today. You've got to do it, and do it now. Our guest tonight, Danny Sheehan. And now, Danny, continuing our conversation, but I want to ask you this, and very directly. Are we at a point in history, because you've been going up against the man in Washington, D.C. for decades now, are we at a point where we need to look at, I'm talking about the UFO community, are they our friend now? Are they on our side with disclosure and the ET question, or do we still need to proceed with caution?
Oh, yeah. No. This is an existential process where there's some kind of a change is going on, and it's happening inside the bureaucracy right now, the defense establishment bureaucracy. But it's been caused. It wasn't something that they, from an institutional point of view, appear to have made a decision to do something to start releasing a lot of information about this. Lou Elizondo and Chris Mellon, 2 guys, engaged in kind of this heroic action of getting these 3 videos declassified and bringing them out of the secrecy closet and brought them and put them on the front page of the New York Times, were cautious enough in how they proceeded and responsible enough in how they proceeded to get the New York Times to agree to do it and to verify that these were the real deal. And so that I believe that triggered some kind of a process inside the establishment of trying to figure out what to do about that, because obviously some of the people inside the Defense Department were still lying. We're still doing the same old routine. We don't know what they're talking about. There's no such secret program. We don't know who Lou Elizondo is. And they're issuing these statements from the official corridors of the Defense Department. And then later on, other people in the Defense Department started saying, oh no, Lou Elizondo was definitely the director of the ATIP program. It was working on UFO stuff. And so that you began to get this kind of schism that started taking place publicly inside the defense establishment. And so that what we have to do now, for those of us that have been in the UFO community since 1977, that we need to keep on moving forward. We need to keep on sharing information with the American public. We need to keep on asking questions. We need to keep on putting pressure on all of the different instrumentalities of government. We need to be putting pressure on the members of Congress to hold hearings on this. We need to be putting pressure on people inside the Defense Department to speak honestly and truthfully about this. We need to be cooperating with people who are cooperative, such as the people inside the Inspector General's office, who are genuinely puzzled about this subject and are trying to get information. And so we need to be cooperative and give them information. And that's why it's unique to have Lou Elizondo as the head of this investigative program inside the Pentagon, briefing them all now, and to have brought his legal counsel with him to sit right by his side, who they know is the legal counsel for the Disclosure Project, and that they know who I am, and so that when Lou and I are participating in meeting with these people, we're actually engaged in attempting to provide an opportunity for them as individuals, as individual human beings, to reach out and participate in this historic process that's going on right now. But as legal counsel, I can help advise them, that they don't need to get in trouble. They don't need to violate any security arrangements. They don't need to violate the security oaths, but they do need to do their job. And that they need to get some kind of a sense of understanding of what the constitutional responsibilities are of a democratic government when faced with this information, to stop pretending that somehow the mere acknowledgement that UFOs are real and that they appear to be coming from an extraterrestrial civilization is somehow damaging to the national security of the United States, because they've historically conflated the national security of the United States with the business interests of the major corporations in the United States. And, it's that old function that people think that what's good for General Motors is good for the country, and that somehow getting access to this information and squirreling it away in secret and providing it to our corporations so they can get kind of competitive advantage, not just militarily over our potential adversaries, but also from an economic point of view, that we can control the economy of the technologies that are involved in these UFOs. That's really what's going on here. And so that what we have to do is we have to have a very important change of attitude that needs to take place to start to get our defense establishment to be more honest and realistic about what the limited nature is of our true national security interests, and stop them from being driven unreflectingly into trying to protect the corporate interests of major financial interests that are trying to get a hold of this technology and monopolize it. That's an extraordinarily important thing that's happening here. So you get men like Lou Elizondo and Chris Mellon and many others that look at this from inside and they say, wait a second, this is extraordinarily important information. This is extraordinarily important for our whole human family. This has profound philosophical and even theological implications for our whole family, in that they feel morally bound to do whatever it is they can do without violating their duties to maintain legitimate national security. But they're trying to figure out how they can get this information to the world, and that's part of. I'm privileged to be able to help counsel on that.
Well,
I think there's a difference in legitimate national security and non-legitimate assertions of national security.
And then the UAP Task Force report comes out, highly anticipated, but it didn't really address anything directly to any number of different groups out there. I think that I would like your opinion on this. I think the overreaching view of the report was, we know nothing. Well, they know a lot. And by stating that they know nothing about anything in the report on each segment of this, whether it's ET or adversarial or us, secret access programs, that it was none of the above. Very, very strange approach to this report, but they know a whole lot, don't they, Danny? Were you surprised at the emptiness of the report?
No, because you need to understand that once you know that there's going to be a classified annex, or basically an appendix to this short report, the public report, you got to understand this is over 400 pages.
Have you seen it? Have you seen the classified?
No.
You have not?
No, I have not. But it's over 400 pages. In that these 9 pages they released, there's really only 6 pages of any substance at all. So even the 9 pages isn't real. It's only 6 pages.
Did you just say it's over 400 pages? I thought the report was 78 pages. No. That's sort of a mythology that's arisen inside the UFO community. Okay.
I think it started actually with Steve Bassett. Steve was trying to get some sort of a general sense of how big it was, and he was trying to look at various sources that people who'd spoken with the New York Times and other things. But the reality is that those who have actually seen it know that it's 400 pages. And so there's a considerable amount of information that's in those 400 pages. But the 6 pages of substance that they actually revealed did say some things that are extremely important. If you read it very closely, that for example, they have said all kinds of people, they never mentioned extraterrestrial once.
No.
In the entire page, never. They never made all they have is the other box. There's this group of there's this other box where they put stuff into. And they even said they said that we aren't really able to determine anything about these things yet. And they've also covered themselves by saying, it was an extremely narrow group of sightings that we referred to. We only took a look at 144 of these. We were only able to define one of them. They had to get the old weather balloon in, and say that was a weather balloon. But the other 143 that we looked at were only those that were military. They're only from a certain period of time that went from 2004 to 2019 or so. They've delimited the scope of what it is that they were doing.
That was me texting you, Danny.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that your phone was still on.
All right.
Danny and I are in a group text with a bunch of other people during the interview. Okay, so continue.
So the bottom line is that what they have said is that really 99% of anything of substance is going to go into the other box, this other box that they've got. And that's where the 400 pages really attempt to talk about all that. And it's absolutely clear. It's absolutely clear now that they know, even in the UAP task force, they know that even to whatever degree the United States has succeeded in recovering any of the downed craft, and to the extent to which they've been succeeded in back engineering any of the technology, and there's a whole bunch of debate, as you know, going on about that's happening. But they point out that their position is clear that whatever number of highly sophisticated secret military technologies the United States have, the vast majority of even these 144 incidents that they looked at, the vast majority were not any of that technology. So they aren't saying, oh, we don't have any such technology, that we don't have anything like this. What they're saying is the ones we're talking about aren't those. And then what they tried to, at the beginning, they tried to suggest, well, it's possible that they are Russian or Chinese. It's not possible that they're Russian or Chinese. And Lou Elizondo and Chris Mellon and the others are shutting that down. They're saying that's ridiculous. Because if, in fact, the Chinese or the Russians had any technology like that goes 43,000 miles an hour in the atmosphere, and can go faster than the speed of light and go under the ocean at 200 miles an hour, if they had anything conceivably near that, that it would be the most colossal failure of intelligence in the history of the human family for us not to know about it. And the fact is, we do know that isn't theirs. We know it's not theirs. Okay, so they've eliminated both of those. They've eliminated the vast majority of the instances are not our technology, whatever else might be going on with our technology, and they're not Chinese or Russian. So that leaves the other box. And this other box, they steadfastly refrain from speculating in any way about it. But the fact of the matter is, when Lou was interviewed by the Associated Press on May 4th, it was June 4th. When he was interviewed by the Associated Press on June 4th, he said the chances at all of these being Chinese or Russian is so infinitesimally small that it's basically functionally eliminated. And once you eliminate those things, they said to him, the AP guy said to him, Dan Huff, one of the guys, he said, there were 3 AP guys interviewing him. And he said, well, what are you guys considering? What were you inside the ATIP? What were you looking at? And Lou was quite candid. He said, well, the primary theory that we're looking at is that they're extraterrestrial, that they've come from an extraterrestrial civilization. And then he actually said, and it's possible that they may even be extra-dimensional, because it's quite clear that whatever the method of transit is that they use from coming from a different star system to coming to our planet, it gives the appearance of being extra-dimensional, that they kind of materialize out of another dimension.
Right.
And they just appear and disappear. So some people are suspecting that they may be just entirely from another dimension. But whichever of those is true, you're dealing with a reality that 99% of the evidence that's coming in indicates that they're extraterrestrial. And you made reference to the Eric Davis quote right in the New York Times, where he acknowledged, in the New York Times chose to publish it, that he said that he had briefed the U.S. Senate Intelligence Committee, and that he and his colleagues, most of them, believe that these are other off-world vehicles. That was his phrase. These are off-world vehicles, and so that's an extraordinary concession, not only on the part of Eric Davis, but it's on the part of the New York Times to publish a thing like that. So the reality is, and I said this when we were sitting talking to the Inspector General, I said, look, you guys can spend a whole lot of time if you want trying to figure out how fast these things go, what their propulsion system is, how they can handle 600 Gs. But the reality is, what you're going to have to come to grips with is, who is flying these things? Who is flying these things, and where do they come from, and what's their agenda here? How long can you pretend that that's not what the issue is that's here? Someone materializes in your living room, and you're wondering what kind of shoes they've got on, and you're saying, no, look, that's not the issue here. Where do these people come from, and what are they up to, and what kind of an extraordinary civilization do they represent? And of course, all these guys in the Defense Department are saying to themselves, wow, this is way above our pay grade, way above our pay grade. But what we're saying is, figure out what is within your pay grade. Figure out what is within your pay grade and do that job, because doing your job here within your pay grade is going to contribute to everybody else being freed up to do their job inside their pay grades. And that's what we've got to do. We've got to push it into the Congress. We've got to push it into the President's office. We've got to push it all the way up to the Secretary of Defense's office. We've got to get everybody doing their constitutional duty. about this subject right now.
I wanted before the break, I wanted to ask you about this, I'm going to do air quotes here, Danny, the 23-minute UAP UFO video that everybody is talking about. I'm going to ask you directly. Have you seen it?
No.
Would you tell me if you have? Would you tell me if you did? Okay.
Oh yeah, no. See, that's one of the things they're engaged now in trying to figure out is what is it they can say in my presence. I won't tell everybody, and that's what they're saying. And so and I've said to them before, I said, look, despite my entire history and record, of confronting injustices inside the executive branch and inside the government, I said, the fact of the matter is, I believe that there is such a thing as genuine security interests for our human family, for our planet, for a given nation state. I understand what their jobs are. I'm not trying to rub their nose in it. What I'm saying is, you need to confine yourself to the constitutionally authorized authority to keep certain things secret, not expand it out all. There's no conceivable, legitimate national security reason why they can't acknowledge that the UFOs are real, that they believe that the UFOs appear to come from an extraterrestrial civilization, and that we are devoted, our country and our human family and all of our nation states together are devoted to figuring out who these people are. And extremely importantly, we're devoted to figuring out who is it among us that already know this, and why are they keeping it secret, and to whose advantage is it keeping this thing secret, and what are they trying to do by owning and monopolizing this information and trying to figure out how to turn it into their own private benefit and not sharing it with our human family. Well, we're here faced with the potential global climate change and burning fossil fuels. We've still got nuclear waste materials from 103 nuclear power plants just in our own country. We got Fukushima pouring radioactive waste into the Pacific Ocean. We've got another 200 such facilities all around our planet, all within 1 mile of the seashores. And the global climate change is raising the levels of the sea. We're looking at potentially hundreds of Fukushimas pouring radioactive material into our ocean, and yet there's a group of people, human beings in our human family, who are monopolizing this information and concealing it from us and using the ruse of it being national security that doesn't allow us to talk about this.
Yeah, glow in the dark sushi. It is in our future. It's in our future. I wanted to ask you really quick, who is Randolph Strong? He's a ghost. I can't find any information out about this guy. Who is he?
Oh, Harvey's a really great guy.
Is it Harvey Strong or Randolph Strong?
It's Randolph is his official name, Randolph Strong. But Harvey is his nickname, his kind of nom de guerre, if you will.
Okay.
But the bottom line, he is the project manager of the division of the Inspector General's office in charge of space, intelligence, and engineering oversight. He is the one who issued the public memorandum on May 3rd. Later in the day, after Lou and I filed his major complaint with the Defense Department about what they were doing and how they were mishandling this entire subject. So he came forward, and he's the one that made bold to call for this much more far-reaching evaluation inside the Inspector General's office. And he's a very strong character. He's as far as I can tell, is a decent, honest guy. Most of the people that are locked out of the government circles, have developed a very intense suspicion about our government structures. And I must say, I think I gave them some of that idea, over the last 50 years. And I think a constitutional scholar is trained that the underlying assumption of our constitutional government is to distrust government structures unless they prove to you that they are to be relied upon. You challenge them, you ask them questions, you hold them to their constitutional duty, and nobody inside government likes that. It makes their job harder, they think. But that's what the Constitution is about. That's what democracy is about. And in this particular instance, this is the most important single subject possibly confronting our entire human family right now. And it touches directly upon the other major questions that we all know about global climate change, potential thermonuclear self-destruction, and the contamination through the nuclear power plants of our entire ecosystem. These are crucial challenges that our human family has generated for ourselves, and there is some tiny minority of our human family who are keeping this information secret, and they're doing it for their own advantage. They're trying to figure out how they can capitalize on it, how they can make money on it, how they can control this technology and continue to establish the hegemony of the United States nation state over all the other countries of our planet. This is not a constitutionally acceptable activity on their part. And we need, as constitutionalists and people who believe in democracy, to take this over. Not to generate complete anarchy. We're not saying, here, open up the doors of the Pentagon and show us how to all make a hydrogen bomb. We're not talking about that stuff. We're talking about acknowledging the most important single subject that our human family is confronted. It has vast implications for our theological view of the world, our human worldview of how we fit into the entire fabric of our universe. And to have people stealing this information in using the color of authority of our United States governmental institutions to secrete this information and keep it for themselves in some corporate boardrooms somewhere, is totally unacceptable. And it's, I think a lot of it is what offended Lou. I think I can't speak for Chris as much, but I think it has offended them. It's offended them as patriots. It's offended them as Americans to see this being done. Because it's clear that up until this point in time, even though there's technical things that the UFOs are doing, it's clear that they're flying around in quote, our airspace without permission from our national security state officials. Yeah, right. But and it is true. To be a little more serious, for them to shut off our nuclear missiles, that threatens those who believe that we ought to have nuclear missiles that we can use to back up our invasion of other countries of the world, and if they resist us, we can nuke them. This is a horrible idea, and it's only been around since the first nuclear explosion was 100 days after I was born. This is on our watch. The creation of these nuclear weapons and the utilization of them to back, unjust corporate power in our United States over the entire world, and to threaten other people around the world with destroying their civilian population. When I was legal counsel with the Jesuit Order in Washington, D.C., in their National Social Ministry Office, we got the Catholic Church and the United Board of Homeland Ministries of the Methodist Church to declare the mere possession of nuclear weapons to be a mortal sin, because they're inherently designed to destroy the civilian population, and that is in violation of every single concept of fair warfare, of the just war theory. And we declared that. The bishops of the Catholic Church have declared that, and it's true. And so we have an obligation, same thing that most of the people who encounter UFO beings, the actual beings who are piloting these things, who are asking us to do something to get rid of these nuclear missiles for our own self-preservation. We've got to do that. We've got to start listening now. We've got to get past the fixation on how fast do they go, how many G's do they pull, what's their propulsion system. We've got to come to grips with what is the implication of this. What is the implication of an entire civilization existing outside of our planet's domain, in which we find ourselves. And we need to start addressing that. And we cannot sit around waiting for the government to tell us what to do, nor can we sit around and wait for the churches to tell us what to do. We as citizens of the world and as members of our human family need to do this ourselves. And as courageous people like Lou and Chris and Eric and these other people that are coming out from inside that set of institutions and starting to do the courageous work to get this conversation going.
Let's take a break right here. Our guest tonight, Danny Sheehan. Want to thank Lou Elizondo for coming in earlier. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More with Danny after this short break. Stay with us.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to GetTheT.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's GetTheT.com.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from Rivermoon. Just click on the Rivermoon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRARadio.com.
When you're in the house for longer periods of time, you can see them flying or running across the floor. Ooh, yuck. They're unhealthy, gross, and disgusting. Bugs. I loathe bugs. We keep a clean home, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. On contact, it kills hidden bugs, including ants, roaches, and fleas. Plus, Orange Guard is a residual repellent. All of the ingredients of Orange Guard are on the FDA generally recognized as safe list. Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard, available at orangeguard.com, Whole Foods, and Ace Hardware.
Gold loves chaos, uncertainty, and disarray. History shows us what gold does when people aren't sure about the government, the stock market, their jobs, or their retirement savings. Our national debt is skyrocketing. Gold and other precious metals are a defense measure against inflation and a stock market that might take years to recover. So what can you do right now to protect yourself? Call United Gold Group. We offer gold and other precious metals delivered securely within 72 hours. Are you worried about the stock market? We can also help you set up a real gold or silver IRA or a 401k. Safe and secure. United Gold Group makes gold ownership affordable. Call now and get up to $2,500 in free gold or silver with a qualified IRA. Call 800-753-8534. That's 800-753-8534 or visit UnitedGoldGroup.com.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, the one and only Danny P. Sheehan. I'm going to hold up Here's a picture of Danny and I a couple of weeks ago. Everybody, I'm holding this up to the camera. Remember this, Danny? You remember this moment? Yeah.
We were out at Laughlin.
Yeah. And they framed this and gave this to me, but it's a great picture, and I've got it here in the studio. I wanted to ask you this. Let's go direct. Is it time, Danny? You and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago in private. And your beautiful wife was there, and she was going, "Yes, Jimmy." Is this time for the disclosure movement to gather at the Lincoln Memorial? Is this time for us to? All of the great changes throughout history happened. The start of it was always right there at the Lincoln Memorial. Is it time for us to think about organizing something?
Well, I think that the most important thing for us to organize is the direct contact experience, is for us to have training for people to figure out how to gather together and gather at each other's homes and go out in your backyard and reach out telepathically to the beings. There's other things. I mean, I know this isn't speaking as Lou's lawyer or speaking on behalf of any of the other fellows in the military, but I think that what we have to do is we have to have a direct citizen diplomacy program, that we have to reach out to try to establish direct communications with the beings, because the reality is that the existence of this extraterrestrial civilization, where they come from, what their agenda is, it's going to tend to be concealed until they decide how much of it they want made public. And so that I think that we have that when back when I was at Jesuit headquarters, I had Jimmy Garrison, my deputy that was in charge of the nuclear weapons policy, go to Russia, and he ended up meeting directly with Gorbachev back when Gorbachev was just the Secretary of Agriculture, and started talking about how we can work all together to disassemble the nuclear warheads of both of their countries, and to get China to join in with this as well, and others. This is how we ended up. This is part of the process that went on to get Gorbachev to declare glasnost and perestroika, and to decide to step back. He didn't decide to step back from the Cold War because of some diplomatic stuff that was done on the part of our government, threatening him, or it's totally crap to say, oh, well, the Reagan administration decided they were going to do Star Wars and it scared Russia, so they all decided to quit in the Cold War struggle. That's not true at all. This was citizen-to-citizen diplomacy that went on over years of reaching out and having conversations with them, talking with people through the churches and the synagogues. And this is the way to do this thing, that we have to stop relying upon some elite governing class to govern us.
Well, don't we? But don't we go visible? Don't we put pressure on this elite group, who I want to talk about with you, by the way? You've made some very good points about this lately, but I'm talking about 500,000, 1 million people, a disclosure movement in Washington to put pressure on our elected officials that we are serious about this and we need movement. And having something visible like that may be the next step. I'm being very serious about this, Danny.
Sure, I know you are. No, I believe that everybody should do everything that we can think of to try to do this. The difficulty is that is assuming that we have to rely upon pressuring these people to do something they don't otherwise want to do, and that somehow you're going to put 500,000 people in the street and march up and down the streets and get, that has its own role. I've done those things, when Orlando Letelier was murdered by the DINA, by the secret police of Chile, a block from my office. I helped work and organize a massive march that went from the Chilean embassy all the way to the funeral at the church of St. Matthew's. One of my best friends, a Catholic priest, Jesuit, who was my superior, celebrated the funeral mass for them. We had diplomats lining the walls. We had Joan Baez singing Ave Maria. We had, we were doing everything to try to force the revelation of the fact that it was the DINA that were involved in assassinating Orlando Letelier, the ambassador from Chile to the United States. And we ended up succeeding eventually. It took years and years and years and years of pressuring the government. And the problem is that the ruling class, the ruling elite that fill in these government positions around the world, they have their own agenda. And that it is not to do what is in the best interest of the people. It's to do what is in the best interest of them and their fellow people. And so that just marching up and down the street doesn't really persuade them. The reality is, and I'm certainly not as a public justice lawyer dismissing the importance of those things. Those are all important. Every single one of us should do whatever it is that she or he is capable of doing. And organizing people to engage in these mass demonstrations is a part of what needs to be done. I agree with you. What I'm saying is that there also has to be this extremely important thing that to demonstrate to the people in positions of power that we're not going to wait for them to reveal this to us, that we're going to reach out to do everything we can do to establish direct contact with these extraterrestrial beings. And I mean, even to the point of sometimes they suggest they're going to bring Logan Act charges against people for attempting to have diplomatic relations with a foreign power. I mean, they certainly can't do that for someone they don't even acknowledge exists. So it isn't likely. And if anybody gets charged with a Logan Act violation, I'll defend them for free. I can tell you, and it would be a great opportunity to get in front of an American jury and to call the witnesses from the government to deal with this issue. So they're not likely to throw us into that briar patch, So I think yes, that we should have major demonstrations. I think we should have, but very importantly, a direct citizens initiative, a citizens diplomatic initiative to go forward under the CE5 and get everybody involved. Stephen Greer has been helping to train people to do this. Mark Sims is working on it now. We're talking about setting up a virtual New Paradigm Institute to invite people from around the world to come and sit virtually around the table to have this set of discussions among our citizenry about what to do about this. The Catholic Church, back in November of 2009, on November 11th of 2009, issued a public call calling upon the people of the world to start to have this profound, at least serious discussion about the important philosophical and theological questions that are presented to our human family by the discovery of life elsewhere in the universe. And in my capacity as the legal counsel of the Jesuit office, I reached out immediately to Father Jose Gabriel Funes, who was the director of the Pontifical Observatory in Rome at Castel Gandolfo, who actually issued the public statement on behalf of the church. And within 48 hours, I was sitting talking to him about this. And he admitted to me in the first 2 minutes I was talking to him that he wasn't talking about, microcellular life discovered under some frozen lake on a distant moon somewhere. He's talking about another highly intelligent, highly technologically developed, but categorically non-human species elsewhere in our galaxy. There's a full-scale, sophisticated civilization here. And the time has come for us to come to grips with this reality. And that we have to show that we're worthy of this. We can't sit back and wait for, democracy is not a spectator sport. We're all trained to sit and watching the Bucks, play the Phoenix Suns, or watching the Dallas Cowboys, play the Boston Patriots or the New England Patriots. And we're all trapped in these kind of passive observations. We need to participate in this process, and participating includes getting in the streets. Participating includes leaning on our government representatives, leaning on them to have public hearings about this. It means people who run a radio show like this of yours, bringing people on to talk about this, and getting people to send in their questions for all of us to answer, to have this be open and transparent process. And this new thing, the New Paradigm Academy, this virtual or new Paradigm Institute, this virtual institute is going to bring on all the new technology. It's going to enable people to come together, as I said, sitting around a table and talking with world leaders around the world and civilians all around the world who know about this. And people can come and participate in this. Everybody can have their own little, what do they call them?
Avatar.
Avatars, that's right, their little avatar. And Mark Sims is going to be financing the technology of this platform, so that the avatars are going to look virtually exactly like a person.
I've seen your avatar. I've seen your avatar. It looks exactly like you.
No, but that's a little primitive. Those things. This is going to be really sophisticated. You basically aren't going to be able to tell the difference between an avatar and an actual visual of the person. This is, and you're going to be sitting around you can sit around the table and talk to Albert Einstein. You can sit around the table and talk to Plato. You know, this. I got to say one more thing. That he has figured out a way he can program the avatar with all of the knowledge of the person whose avatar that is. And just like you're talking to Siri on the telephone, you say, Siri, tell me who were the people that were on the Nino, the Pinto, and the Santa Maria. And within 30 seconds, she'll start telling you who they all are, right? Because it's all filed away. It's all by technology. That can be done now for every major person who's participating in this, government people. You can program through AI the information that they have. And so you can actually sit at the table and you can convene them to come and sit at the table to talk about this most profound of all questions that our human families ever confronted. And we can participate in this. Regular people can come and sit at the table and have these conversations. This technology of the New Paradigm Institute that Mark Sims is getting set to finance and put together is going to be extraordinarily important for housing and facilitating this conversation that's going to be going on, and so that I just want everybody to know that we don't have to depend solely upon filling the streets of Washington, D.C. with 500,000 people and marching on the Capitol building. What we've got to do is we've got to work together to go out in the meadows and the fields of our country and reach out together through meditation and certain techniques. That Stephen Greer has a whole training program to help show people how to do this. Mark Sims and the people at the New Paradigm Institute are going to be training people on how to do this. And we have to train an entire generation of diplomats. We have to have citizen diplomats that are going to be trained to be, what are you going to do? It's like the dog that catches the car, right? You go out in the middle of a field and say, oh, please come down and talk to us. And they land a flying saucer there. And what are you going to say to them? You're going to say, oh, well, like Betty Hill said, I don't know this, but I can send you to somebody. We need to be able to know what to say and what we're going to be proposing for policies here.
Well, this time around, instead of Joan Baez, we're going to have the Foo Fighters. I'm just letting you. But Danny, yes. I have to ask you: if the pressure and everything that you and this community is doing right now, and we continue this, and suddenly our government reveals that they do have in their possession, crashed and retrieved flying saucers. Is the world ready for that? That kind of confirmation? Is the world going to be able to handle this?
Well, that's part of we are the world. I mean, we need to prepare ourselves for this reality. Whatever the means are, and whatever the rate at which this information is acknowledged, both by our government institutions and by the ET civilization itself, by institutions such as the churches, etc., that we need to prepare ourselves for this information, so that no matter how slowly they do this, the institutions, or how rapidly they do that, we as people are responsible for this. It's like with your own children. How aggressively are you going to train your children about some of the realities of the outside world? You just have to do that. You can't just throw them outdoors and say, here, figure out what it looks like in the outside world. There's a whole educational process, and we need to do that. Now, a lot of people, of course, speculate that the government institutions and the ruling elite have been doing this over the past 75 years, that they've been feathering this information in. I mean, you take the average 7-year-old here in the United States and ask them to draw an extraterrestrial, and they'll draw it for you. With the big eyes and the big head, and you say, here, draw a flying saucer, and they'll draw you a flying saucer. So it's clear that there's been a process going on over all these years to try to feather this information in. But at the same time, the governing elite have been holding back the key information about the technologies, in that they've been making us, suffer the consequences of our own ignorance. But we've been victimized. We're being taken advantage of by a tiny, tiny minority of people on our planet who believe that they are in charge and that they have a right to monopolize the technology. The same kind of people that rose to power back in the robber baron era, from 1868 at the end of the American Civil War to 1898, a short 30-year period there. There were like 24 families that rose to immense, fabulous wealth by monopolizing the steel production, the iron, the railways, the shipping lines, the telegraphs, the communications, the agribusiness. These 24 families came to own and monopolize virtually all the major sectors of our economy. And so the fact is they haven't let go since then. And they're involved in controlling this information. They're holding it for themselves, and they're letting us all suffer the consequences. So rather than getting into a confrontational fight with them, or relying solely upon mobilizing more and more people marching in the streets of Washington, D.C. to try to frighten them into thinking they're going to lose control somehow over the population, we've got to take it into our own power. We've got to reach out, establish direct citizen diplomacy with the extraterrestrial beings, come to understand whatever the reticences that they have for revealing themselves, get them to share this information with us as to why they're not coming forward and making it obvious, so that we can take that into account. We don't want to shock the conscience of the citizens of the world, and we don't want to traumatize our people. We don't want our people to be, suddenly faced with the realization that their whole worldview has been wrong, and in despair over this. We want to do this in a responsible way, but we need to have the information. We need to know what the information is that's being sequestered by certain elements high up in the corporate structures of our country that have pirated this information from the government and are holding it in their own private corporate hands. We've got to be able to get at this, and we've known this for some time now, that this element exists. And
if you were
to do about it.
If you were going to, and I've recently heard you speak about the small elite group. Is it an extension of those families? Is it a new generation? Are we speaking purely in a private, a corporate and banking structure that is independent of state actors?
Well, it would have been, but for their having taken over the instrumentalities of government. That's what happened back during the robber baron era, is they basically applied their talents and obtained economic control over the economic resources, and then they translated that into capturing the institutions of government itself, to the point where they would be able to dictate sending foreign expeditionary forces, for example, into Nicaragua to overthrow the government down there, because the United Fruit Corporation, wanted to use that to grow bananas down there. The same way that they invaded and overthrew the government of Mossadegh over in Iran because they wanted to have the oil. The Central Intelligence Agency is playing a major key role in this. The Central Intelligence Agency that was created in 1947 through the National Security Act of 1947 has been steadfastly dedicated to plying their trade on behalf of the American corporations and getting access to the resources of other countries around the world, and toppling governments that don't agree to give us unfettered access to their resources, etc. As of all the instrumentalities The Central Intelligence Agency is a fundamentally and profoundly corrupt organization. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't good people that don't know any better that are in it and trying to figure out what they can do to help. But the reality is that the first memos that were written suggesting to President Truman that there be such an organization was written by Robert Lovett. Robert Lovett was a senior partner in Brown Brothers Harriman. Brown Brothers Harriman was a private investment firm that was made up of the heads of these families. And the CEO of that was George Herbert Walker. And the legal counsel for that was Allen Dulles. And he ended up being made the first civilian head of the Central Intelligence Agency. But his power came from the fact that he was legal counsel for Brown Brothers Harriman. He was the consigliere for these families, and that the CIA was steadfastly devoted to pursuing it. You can take a look, for example, that David Talbot wrote this extraordinarily important book. It's called Allen Dulles, The Rise and Fall of the Secret American Government. This is not unknown, this information. The question is, how do we who have had the advantage of getting a full scholarship to Harvard College, for example, and Harvard Law School, and getting to study all of this stuff among the elite and the major prep school people, come out to the world and say, let me tell you what I've discovered here. Let me tell you what I found out. That they're trying to recruit us from the working class to join with them and share in their privilege. And we've said no, and we want to tell people what we really discovered about how these secret powers operate. And they're operating here in this area with regard to the UFOs, in the technology that they represent, and the good people like Lou Elizondo and Chris Mellon and Eric Davis and the other people who are offended by what's going on here are trying to figure out how they can participate in getting this information made available to the people of the world. It doesn't really transgress any legitimate national security interest of our country, and that's the key to this thing. And again, I don't mean to speak just on behalf of Lou or Chris or any of the other people. They can speak for themselves on this, but I think you can tell that that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to figure out how they, caught in this extraordinary moment of history, can fulfill their moral responsibilities, not only to their fellow citizens here right now, but to their grandchildren and their grandchildren's grandchildren. This is something that's going to affect our relationship with the extraterrestrial civilization for thousands of years to come. I mean, that's the importance of this particular moment, that we're engaged in right now. This is trans-historical, what's happening right now, and it has to be handled well.
Thank you so much, Danny. What a great conversation, and you've had a very, very busy year, certainly a very busy couple of weeks, and it's not going to get any easier. But thank you, man, for rolling that rock uphill, man. Thank you so much.
It's an absolute privilege to get to be here at this time.
Your true words have never been spoken. Danny Sheehan, thank you so much, my friend, and we'll be speaking very soon. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jimmy. Stay at it.
You're the best. Okay. You too, Danny. You too. Thank you so much. Daniel P. Sheehan. And now go enjoy the rest of your evening and give my best to Sarah. I will speak to you soon. Thank you so much. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'm going to take a quick break and come back and take some of your phone calls. This is a very important night here on Fade to Black. 727-228-2051. I'll be right back.
You are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
This is Billy Carson with ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Forbidden Knowledge TV has just reached its 1-year anniversary. That's right, 1 year. And as a show of appreciation, we are giving all new subscribers a free 30-day trial of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's 30 days to binge watch thousands of movies, documentaries, conferences, workshops, lectures, yoga classes, meditation courses, and so much more. So log on to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv from your computer or mobile device, or get the Forbidden Knowledge TV app on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, iTunes, or Google Play today, and use coupon code 30daysfree. That's coupon code 30 days free on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JamieChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What an extraordinary night tonight. Lou Elizondo and Danny Sheehan coming in, and just absolutely incredible conversations tonight going down. Kicking off a pretty amazing week here on Fade to Black. Tomorrow night, Grant Cameron is joining us, and then Wednesday night, Debbie Cobble is here, and Debbie was the subject of Bud Hopkins' book, Intruders, and everybody has read that book. And you've probably often wondered, who is this person? Well, you're going to meet Debbie on Wednesday night, an absolutely incredible life of contact. And then Thursday night, live from Australia, Ross Coulthart is with us. And what a week we've got coming up here on Fade to Black. We just had a very incredible 2.5 hours of conversations with Lou and Danny. What did you think? 747-228-2051, 747-228-2051, and I am going to go straight to the phones. Let's see who's up first. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
What's up, Jimmy? This is Steve, Slightly Slanted Sleuth. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Pretty good. How was your trip, man? I heard you were in a movie or something?
Yeah, I certainly was. It was great, and more details as time goes by. But I posted stuff on social media, what I could, and you got a lot of noise coming from your phone. But Linda Moulton Howe, Richard Dolan, William Henry, and who am I leaving out? I'm leaving out a couple of people. Of course, Debbie Cobble, was there, and it was just an extraordinary week.
I apologize for putting you on the spot there.
That's okay. That's okay.
But,
I'm still a little brain dead.
I bet.
Yeah. Oh, Whitley
Awesome.
Strieber,
Yeah,
of course, too. Whitley was with us.
There you go. Whenever you need to remember something, it never comes up, right? But yeah, Jimmy, I don't want to put you on the spot again, but would you consider doing an interview with a guy named Phil Langdon?
Who's Phil Langdon?
He's written a couple books. He's somebody who has he studied the alien thing. He debunked Billy Meyer's stuff back in the day, and he's got a couple books. One's called Ascension, and one's called Blueprint of the Gods. But if you're willing to if you're willing to interview him, I could probably set it up for you, get him to give you an email, and it's pretty interesting, the stuff he has to say and how it ties into our reality.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not interested in revisiting Billy Meyer, but if he's
no, definitely not. I'm just I was giving you that as a backstory.
So, what did you think about the conversation tonight with Lou and Danny Sheehan?
I didn't hear the part with Lou, but I did hear the end of what Danny was saying, and to be honest with you, Jimmy, I'm not taking away anything from what he said, but it's pretty much everything that's been said already. And I wanted to run this by you. Do you ever think there's going to be some disclosure from the government or the powers that be?
Well, it depends on if you're talking about the grand disclosure. I don't know. My take is, and it's a very simple one. If the government goes all out and says ET is here, it's because their hand was forced. There's going to be something that is going to make them do that. Are they going to do it voluntarily? No. But having these conversations happen today, like with the UAPTF report and the Senate Intelligence Committee and Susan Howe of the Pentagon talking about all of this stuff, that's pretty extraordinary in of itself to have this going on, because it's never happened like this before, ever. It's never even been close to this. So having Lou and Chris Mellon and others pushing this issue, it's never been like this before, and it's pretty exciting.
Right. I just think that they keep throwing us a bone here and there just to I don't know what the purpose is, but I commend you, dude. You're becoming a celebrity in your own right, and I appreciate everything you do. You're an awesome dude, man. Thanks for keeping on.
Thank you so much, Steve, and behave and be well, and we'll see you tomorrow night right here.
All right, brother.
Right on. The bones that he is referring to, we've never had bones before. Okay. It's pretty extraordinary to have the bones thrown at us. I don't know where all of this is leading. I really don't. I'm hoping that the pressure can be kept up, that we have to continuously speak about this and move this thing forward. It's pretty extraordinary to have somebody like Lou come on the show today and say that he has seen a 23-minute UFO UAP video. 23 minutes is not a few seconds like we have been witnessing. Okay, this is a little bit. 23 minutes. That's a lot of data. You can deduce a lot from that just with your eyeballs. That's pretty extraordinary. Will this get leaked? Will this be presented? Will it be released by the Department of Defense? Who's got the video? Is it the Navy? Is it the Air Force? Lou said that when I asked him how it was shot from an airplane, and he said I forget his exact terminology, but it was a data collection center or something something of that nature. That's pretty interesting. So what, Homeland Security, what is this video? I'll get to the calls in a second. I've often said with the Tic Tac and the gimbal and the Go Fast videos that there's video before and after. We just got a sliver, a few seconds of video. A minute of a video. That's not what was shot. There's like a terabyte SD card full of video on those. We just got the sliver. What is in front and in back of those videos is the data, and also with your own eyeballs. And what were the pilots saying? Well, if you've got a 23-minute video, now that's what I'm talking about. I want to see this video. And Lou says it's definitive, right? That there's no question. That the email came back, had the title, That UFO Video. So let's see that. He also mentioned that there were more than one craft. Pretty interesting. Lou also said that it was big enough for maybe a pilot, and I think he said or two or three, like passengers. That's a whole, what is going on with this video? I want to see it. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling? You're live.
Hi. Yeah, this is Josh Freeman.
Hi, Josh. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Where are you calling from?
Rainham, Mass.
From Massachusetts?
Yeah, Massachusetts.
Yeah, close enough. What's on your mind, Josh?
Will you talk on Clubhouse and have a room and talk about this more?
Would I do it?
Yeah.
I've got 20 invitations to Clubhouse. I haven't accepted any of them. Do you think I should do it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. I've got plenty of invites that are sitting there. And I don't know much about Clubhouse. Those that have invited me say that it's great, that you've got to jump in over here and check out what's going on. You
could host a room. You could form a club. You could bring people in. It's like a big conference room. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's everybody says it's great. I'm gonna be straight up. I haven't listened to any of it. I haven't checked any of it out, and I'm guilty of that. But
it's just another thing. It's a social media. But yeah, I mean, I heard about you directly through a lot of people I talked to on Clubhouse. So.
Oh, right.
I formed my own club in there called the UN UFO Department. So it's my most popular club.
Oh, right on, right on. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I've heard from some of my friends. Dude, man, did you hear what went down on Clubhouse today? And so and some of these rooms have 10,000 people, right?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, when Elon Musk came on, it was like 5,000 in one room, and then overflow rooms, and it was incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, Danny Sheehan's been on Clubhouse. Dr. Greer's been on. Elizondo was on the other day. But yeah, I mean, and I'm really impressed with your website and your format of how you stream to multiple platforms. It's really good.
Yeah, we decided to do that very early on, which was just get it out there for free to as many platforms as possible, and just put it out there. Just put it out, and everybody can when it's live.
If you could get Tom DeLong in the mix on here, I'd love to hear him with this whole group too. I've been watching your 2016 interview with him, and that's how I learned about you.
Oh, was that long ago when I interviewed Tom?
Yeah.
No, was that 2000? No, that was like 2000. That had to have been 2018. It had to have. I don't know. Was it 2016? Was it 5 years ago?
Yeah.
All right. Somebody.
No, I love his music, and I had a band in college, and we played his music. And then when he got into UFOs and like Hal Petoff, I've met Hal, I've met Eric Davis, and I had no idea that these guys were like so super famous like this when I was like hanging out with them, basically.
Wow.
So,
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go, Josh, hanging out with Eric Davis. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
was that
I used to
somebody?
call him and talk to him.
Well, hold
I
on.
used to call him and talk to him for. Go ahead.
I need somebody to pop up in Twitter. Sure. When was that Tom DeLonge interview? What year was that? 2016 just seems too long ago. Maybe it was 5 years ago. Was it before TTSA or was it after?
No, it was during.
Okay, well, TTSA was 2017. So,
well, I'll just Google it. Tom.
Man, I don't know. Thank you so much, Josh, and I'll check out Clubhouse. All right, I'll make the commitment. I'll jump in and tip my
Tuesday, August 30, 2016. It says Tom DeLonge, Secret Machines, To the Stars Academy at Tom DeLonge, live with Jimmy Church.
Okay, well, there you go. 2016, 5 years ago. Who knew?
Yeah, episode 515.
There you go. Where did the time go? I thought it was like yesterday. Thank you for that, Josh. And I'm going to check out Clubhouse.
I'd love to. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow night right here.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Wow, that was really 2016? Holy crap. 5 years ago. Oh, man. I remember the show. What was interesting, we talked a lot about in the beginning about Travis Barker, punk rock, music, and guitars, and then got things rolling into the UFO thing. And I remember there was one interesting thing about that particular show, that he didn't want to do it from a single location, that he wanted to, I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but he had to drive around in his car. And that's what he did. He stayed mobile for that interview. I don't know if you guys know that, but yeah, it was like that. I can't believe that was 5 years ago. That Tom DeLonge interview from his car was epic. Yes. Okay, there you go. So that's it right there. Wow, who knew? I didn't know it was that long ago. Yeah, there it is. Huh. Wow. Who I did not know that. All right. Let's get back to some of these calls here. Let's see who is up next. We're going here. Let's see who we have. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, what's up, Jimmy? It's Nelson from San Diego.
Hey, Nelson. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. Hey, that was an awesome interview with Lou and Danny tonight. Props, man.
Yeah, yes, it was. And what sticks out for you?
Okay, so Lou basically confirmed everything that Eric Davis has said. Am I getting that wrong?
No, you're not getting that wrong. I think that Lou was very direct in his response to that.
Right. So when Eric was quoted in that, forgive me if I'm getting the facts wrong. Please correct me if I am. But wasn't Eric Davis maybe kind of quoted or something in an article saying that there's been crash retrievals?
Yeah, and that is correct. And what that was the New York Times, and that was about I'm going to say that was probably 6 months ago. That particular article, you dropped it for a second, but I got you back. The article was about 6 months ago, and you know what? It may have been a year ago, but buried in the article down towards the end, and if you didn't read the entire article, you would have missed it. But there was this quote from Eric Davis that said that he had briefed the Senate and told them that we were in possession of flying vehicles not of this earth. Craft that were not of this earth. That's a pretty direct quote. I don't think there's any way to read between the lines there, Nelson.
Yeah, and for a long time, there were a lot of people who were, maybe people who didn't know Eric Davis's background too well, and I'm not saying I do, but there's a lot of people, wondering if there was any credibility in what this guy is saying. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, Jimmy, but did Lou basically just say that, yeah, you can trust whatever this guy says?
Well, Lou said that Eric Davis does not lie. So, I've never met Eric Davis. I think that Eric and I, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, exchanged some emails, and he said, yeah, I'd like to come on the show. I think things have changed for him since then, and certainly things have developed a bit further, and he's got a new job. So I don't think he's interested in coming on shows like this. He's got other stuff to go and do. But he was willing to come on Fade to Black, so you got to give him that, right?
Yeah.
Nelson, enjoy your night. Tomorrow night, right here, Grant Cameron. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Right on. Fade to Black.
Fade to Black. Thank you, Nelson. And, that quote was there, and I did talk to Ralph Blumenthal very directly about this, how that got into the New York Times article, how do you vet your sources, and that for the New York Times to do that, it's a direct quote. It's a direct quote. The person is named in the quote, so you have to ask about your source on this. So I am sure that they asked Eric Davis before they put that in the article, put that in print, that there was some facts backing that up. It's an extraordinary statement. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
This is Mark Sims. How you doing, Jimmy?
Hey, Mark. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. Listened to the entire show. I thought Lou was fantastic, and Danny is always great to hear, and he's just got so much to say on so many topics related to this issue. It just, I thought your program tonight was historic, man. I really think that you knocked it out of the park tonight.
Well, I'm holding up your medallion to the camera. This is Mark Sims. This is extraordinary, and I wear it all the time. I'm going to open it up and show everybody what's on the inside, and absolutely incredible. So, Mark, you've got a lot going on right now. You've got a lot going on.
I do.
And with everything that you do have going on, and then you listen to a show like this tonight, it must make you feel pretty good that you're on the right path.
Yeah, it really does, and I'm optimistic about our future. I am so inspired by people like Lou Elizondo, who it took such extraordinary courage and discipline to do what he has done, and to weather the storm and still adhere to his principles, and to know that there are great men and women in our, military and within, these government agencies that have such integrity and are doing it the right way. It gives me great hope. There are wonderful people serving this country within these organizations that we so often, from the outside demonize, because we just think that, everybody inside the DOD is keeping this a secret from the American public at our detriment. And it's just not true. These are really good people. And I know Lou is one of them. He's proven himself. I just want to really acknowledge his bravery and his patriotism. And anybody who says he's not a patriot and is doing something nefarious is just misinformed. So I just want to say that for the record. And then people like Danny, who have committed their lives to shining light on injustices in the world. And his track record is second to none. And for him to continue, marching forward. He's just an inspiration to people like myself and many others. And because of those people and many other people who go on unnamed, how many Lou Elizondos are there who never were offered the chance or were never presented the opportunity to do this, but still, did the right thing.
Yeah, there's not enough Lou Elizondos out there to be straight.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just not enough. We need more. Mark, before I have to sign off tonight, you've got a lot of projects going on, and I want you to give the plugs. You've just launched a new website. Where can everybody go and see that?
If everybody goes to makingcontact.com, there is a little landing page there for people to register for a early bird discount for a exclusive invitation to join Danny Sheehan and me. We're the co-executive producers for this event coming up in August, and you are going to be there as one of the presenters with many other people. And this is going to be an unprecedented conference taking place on a virtual platform, the observation deck, and we'll have a big announcement to make with that. And this is where we can come together and have a discussion about how do we establish a meaningful and effective citizens diplomacy initiative, like the one that Danny was talking about. Where we as citizens can reach out and establish diplomatic relations with our extraterrestrial family members. They are waiting for us, I believe. This is my personal belief that, and through my own experience, that they will respond if we reach out to them in peace and mutual respect. And they are ready to talk to us. And just imagine if we can establish contact, what they would have to share with us about, who they are and, the messages they've already given witnesses about the importance of us to take care of our planet and to take care of each other and be more loving and compassionate. We need more of that in the world, and be careful with nuclear weapons. We've become an existential threat to ourselves, and they've been warning us for decades about this. And I think it would be very, very informative and interesting to hear what they would have to share with us.
Thank you so much, Mark. And again, I want to remind everybody that the website is makingcontact.com, and the event is coming up in August. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be hanging out. And Mark, your work has just been invaluable. Thank you so much. And we'll be talking later on this week. Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you, Jimmy. Have a good night.
Mark Sims, the absolute very best right there. Mark Sims. Thank you, Mark. And with that, I've got to get out of here. We just went pole to pole tonight here on Fade to Black. We've got a great week. Tomorrow night, Grant Cameron is joining us, and I do want to remind everybody it's an amazing week. Wednesday night, Debbie Cobble. Thursday night, from Australia, Ross Coulthard. I am your host, Jimmy Church. What a great show tonight. Fade to Black's executive producers, Rita Camarian. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Hutter, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. I just lost my train of thought. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2021 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, Grant Cameron. Until then, I want everybody to be safe. It's time to fade to black.